In fresh hope amid this raging conflict, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Saturday that Russia is now adopting what it's calling a fundamentally different approach in its talks to end the ongoing war. During a media briefing on Saturday, Zelensky said that Moscow's latest approach is in complete contrast to their earlier talks, at which the Russian delegation's only response was to issue ultimatums. Listen in.
Група українців і російських представників, вони обговорюють ті чи інші питання. Зараз вони почали про щось говорити, а не кидати тільки ультиматуми. Я вважаю, що це принципово інший підхід, і він повинен і має бути таким. Я вважаю, що в ньому поки що недостатньо залучення наших західних партнерів, лідерів, тому що якщо ми говоримо про пункти щодо гарантії безпеки нашої держави, то просто довіряти Росії в Україні вже не зможуть.
Putin has also indicated a positive shift in its dialogue, with negotiations now being held on an almost daily basis. Russian and Ukrainian negotiators have held several rounds of talks since Russia invaded the country. Turkey on Thursday hosted the first round of talks between the Russian and Ukrainian foreign ministers since the invasion began. The talks might have not paused the fighting, but it has definitely opened some new humanitarian corridors in an effort to evacuate civilians from the war zone. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett spoke to Zelensky on Saturday to discuss the latest on-ground developments in the region. And according to Israel's Prime Minister's office, the conversation lasted for more than an hour and dealt with ways to end the fighting in Ukraine. The call came after Zelensky earlier proposed that Israel holds a ceasefire talk, or a conversation rather, between Ukraine and Russia in Jerusalem.
Ми в цілому позитивно відносимось, я особисто позитивно відношусь до посередництва будь-кого. Але я не називаю пана Беннета будь-ким, тому що вважаю, що він може зіграти важливу роль.
In other news, the Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said on Saturday that his country is now open to negotiations, but would not surrender or accept any kind of ultimatums to end the conflict. Listen in.
Of course, this doesn't exclude the track of diplomacy and the need to talk and to find solutions, but as President Zelensky said on a number of occasions, we are ready to negotiate, but we are not going to accept any ultimatums and surrender.
All these developments came as the French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz had fresh talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Macron and Scholz reiterated their call for cessation in violence. The three leaders also spoke last week on Thursday, when both Macron and Scholz demanded an immediate ceasefire by Russia. As the Russian invasion of Ukraine continues, let's now take a look at how the situation is developing in the DONETS region. The Russian state television has released footage of what it claims was the village of Novotroyske. The village is located in the Donetsk region of Ukraine. Russian media said that the village has been liberated by separatists. The video shows military convoys with the letter Z painted on vehicles. The sign is quick to identify military units and help troops distinguish friend from foe amid combat. The sign is also believed to be used by the Russian military. Now, for more details about the on-ground situation as it stands as of now, our correspondent Anas Malik is now joining us from Brovary. Anas, thanks so much for joining us at this hour. You, of course, have been reporting for us from Ukraine. Earlier, you were in Kiev. Before that, in Lviv. You've got us stories of the refugees, the crisis that is unfolding. My question to you at this hour is, now the Russian air assault seemingly has widened to the west as Moscow is continuing to strike military bases, especially outside Lviv, near the Polish border, coming closer to Poland. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the assault has indeed expanded, and the air assault has expanded. Not just that, Priyanka, the on-foot assault, the artillery assault has also expanded as well. And as a reason of which we're seeing this evacuation from Brovary being done. If I'll just explain you, Brovary is in the northeast of the country, and if you can probably see as well, these are evacuation buses that are being used to evacuate people out of Brovary to safety. If you can just see, there are hundreds of people from associated areas. They're being made to get out of here. Then they will be boarding these other buses towards Kiev. That's on my right side, and probably you can see as well.
Right.
These are the people who are coming out from Brovary's associated areas, because the assault has expanded and it is practically very near to the city of Kiev now. Brovary is just about 25 kilometers northeast of Kiev, and that's where from where the evacuation is currently ongoing. This actually goes on to explain the magnitude of the situation. Hundreds of people, there are security people around, there's the International Red Cross that's around, children, elderly, women, you name it, you'd find everyone around over here being made to go towards considerable safety, because they believe that now the Russian assault, as it goes on, as it progresses, then it will engulf the town of Brovary as well, and a lot of people would have to suffer. Priyanka?
Absolutely, Anas. Now, as you pointed out, you've brought the attention and the focus to, of course, a humanitarian crisis which has emerged as the big fallout of this war, so to speak. There are two narratives currently coming to us. One is that the Ukrainian presidential advisor has said that Kiev, the capital, is effectively under siege. Meanwhile, the conversation between Russian officials and Ukraine seems to be going in some kind of direction where they are negotiating instead of just giving each other ultimatums. What about the people in Ukraine? How do they feel about both these narratives and these developments?
Well, to what President Zelensky has said, and it is a reflection of what is the reality on ground. And I'll just get aside again as well. You can see there are hundreds of people, buses that have been lined up for evacuation purposes, and people are using this as an opportunity to go towards safety. Ambulances that have been lined up, the International Red Cross is also here. So what President Zelensky has been saying, that Kiev is practically under siege, it is indeed very true, because that's what the reality is on ground, and that's what a reflection of it we have seen with people being evacuated. If I can just pan you the camera, and I can just show you, you can see the families that are going from here towards considerable safety. They're being moved out because the situation is becoming worse, dire and dire with each passing moment, and you never know when the assault reaches you, or when this aggression reaches your town, and at what moment a shell or a bomb can land at your house. That is the reason more and more people are fleeing to safety. More than 50% of Kiev's residents have already left. 2.7 million people have migrated or sought refuge to associated countries in the past 18 days since this assault began. So practically, regardless of whatever these talks might give the semblance of, practically the reality on ground is that the country, or in fact the city itself, remains under siege. Priyanka?
Absolutely. Anas Malik, our correspondent, reporting for us from Ukraine at this hour. Thank you so much for all those updates. Thanks for joining us on WION. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.